Now, another interesting factor in 2024 is the rise of the rebels. The rebels take over in two countries, Bangladesh and Syria. Let's talk about Bangladesh first. A rebellion against Sheikh Hasina over a proposed reservation reform saw Hasina fleeing from Dhaka on August 5, 2024, despite being in power for the last 15 years. Her escape to India plunged Bangladesh into a crisis. There were images of rebels then chilling at Hasina's residence, which went viral. Locals stealing bags, saris, and even, believe it or not, goats and chickens. 3 days after she fled, an interim government was set up. This was under the leadership of Mohammad Yunus. Yunus is a renowned economist and civil society leader and was even awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. And then there's Syria. Bashar al-Assad's 24-year rule came to a dramatic end on December 7th when rebels took control of capital Damascus. Now, the Syrian civil war, remember, was triggered by pro-democracy Arab Spring protests way back in March 2011, and since then has raged on. It's under rebel leader al-Jilani's leadership that a fresh offensive was launched at the end of 2024. On November 29th, they took control of Aleppo. Days later, on December 5th, the rebels took control of Hamato, and finally on December 8th, capital Damascus fell. They took over the capital. The duties of the head of state are currently being conducted by a transitional government led by Mohammad al-Bashar in the role of Prime Minister. Now, from the ballot, let's move to the bullet, which unfortunately also defined 2024. From Israel's war, first on Hamas in Gaza, then on Hezbollah in Lebanon, to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, to conflicts in Myanmar and Sudan, to now a new era following the downfall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria that we told you about. 2024 has seen most active conflicts of any time since the end of the Second World War. And as we enter 2025, the erosion of international norms is more acute, unfortunately, than ever. Let's run you through the current global conflicts that make 2025 a rather unpredictable year geopolitically. Let's start off with Israel's multi-pronged war. Now, a long simmering violence in the region was stoked in October 2023 when Hamas gunmen stormed over the border into Israel. Today, much of Gaza has been laid to waste, with some 2/3 of its buildings damaged or destroyed. Most of the Strip's 2.3 million people are homeless. In retaliation also to Hezbollah's attack on its troops, Israel ratcheted up its attacks on Hezbollah with intensified strikes on southern Lebanon and in parts of the capital Beirut. Anger at the attacks on Hezbollah, you had Iran also stepping in, engaging in tit-for-tat strikes with Israel. So Hamas and Hezbollah leadership has been decimated, and Israel focused its attention on Houthis in Yemen too. Netanyahu therefore didn't spare Syria, Iraq, Tehran, all plunging the entire Middle East into instability and uncertainty. And we're going with that uncertainty into 2025. Let's talk about the other stalemate, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, interestingly, before winning elections, Donald Trump had said that he could end the war in a day. But walking the talk would not be as simple for the US president. Because in 2024, with Kiev seeking to reclaim lost territory, Moscow largely played defensive games in the regions it currently holds. It's got support also. North Korea, Iran, China and other countries are backing Russia, and that sustained its efforts on Ukrainian soil. At the beginning of May 2024, Russian forces crossed the international border to the north of Ukraine's second biggest city of Kharkiv. In November, Ukraine reported its troops had actually engaged in combat with North Korean troops in the Kursk region of Russia. Moscow and Pyongyang didn't respond to the claim that North Korean soldiers have been under fire. But US intelligence, NATO allies have confirmed that there is evidence of North Korean troops being involved in Russia's war. And despite the humanitarian, military, economic, political and diplomatic costs, Moscow shows no signs of ending its war. While the Middle East remains a focal point of global security concerns, the war in Russia-Ukraine, you could say, is in a state of limbo. So if 2024 was the year of elections, 2025 can be the year of new beginnings. There are many governments across the world that are starting new terms, forced to respond, of course, swiftly to mounting economic, social, security, environmental and even technological challenges. 1869, you've heard of the very famous War and Peace. In 2024, it's War and Pools. Let's hope that in 2025, it's War and Hope.